Good morning, it's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself, and today I'm out for a walk, and I want to talk about a big topic, which is forgiveness. Deep forgiveness. Now, everybody's been told that forgiveness is the way to heal. In order for you to heal, in order for you to move, to be free, you need to forgive. And it's also been said that forgiveness is for yourself, not for the other person. Well, I have a different take on forgiveness. I think when things go wrong, I'm not necessarily sure that you absolutely need to forgive in order to heal, or that forgiveness is required, or that forgiveness is even virtuous or the right thing to do, which we've all been told. And I think that's why it's so hard. When we can't seem to forgive, we think we should forgive. We know that we should forgive. We feel we carry around this guilt, like somehow we're not good enough if we can't forgive. But forgiveness doesn't sit well with some people. It just really doesn't seem natural, because it seems like something terrible has happened. If you feel like some event or person or something has happened or gone wrong in your life that was done to you that really shouldn't have happened, that basically destroyed the whole fabric of your life, right? If it's that severe, if you feel like something has been done to you, something that was so wrong and unforgivable that virtually crushed the landscape of your heart and your life, and nothing has ever been the same since because of that, it is very hard to do deep forgiveness. I understand, because some things are just wrong and some things shouldn't have happened. But when we hold on to it shouldn't have happened, that's where we get hung up, right? Maybe it shouldn't have happened and maybe it was wrong, but those are two different things. So let me explain. Something that is wrong is sometimes truly unforgivable. And if we feel like we have to forgive, we're carrying around a lot of guilt and shame if we can't forgive that, because in our heart, we just don't believe it's right. We just believe it's wrong. And that's okay. I believe in that instance, when something is wrong, it's wrong. And maybe we're always going to think it was wrong. We don't want to let that person off the hook. We don't want to absolve our sense of right from wrong, right? Because by saying I forgive you might mean to us that now we have to change our worldview of what is right and wrong, and that we somehow shouldn't think that that is wrong anymore, when that's really not what forgiveness is about. So if something's wrong, deeply wrong, it is wrong, and it's okay to still believe that that was wrong and to still know you're right from wrong. The idea here is truly with acceptance. When we say it shouldn't have happened, that's where we get hung up. I wish I could go back and change it. I wish that didn't happen. It shouldn't have happened. That should not have happened. I guess when you're living your life, all things that have happened should have happened because they happened. We know they were meant to happen because they did happen. And so we don't need to grapple with whether we think it's right or wrong. We can believe that that was wrong, but when we get into it shouldn't have happened, or how can I go back in my mind and change it to make it unhappen, or if only I could go back, or just spending our life with the regret that if that didn't happen, everything would be different. That's where people get hung up. You need to live in that reality and say, it did happen. It did happen. And forgiveness, I believe, is truly acceptance. Acceptance that it happened, accepting that it did happen. Right or wrong, it happened. It happened to you, and you can never, ever go back and change it. And so what I believe forgiveness truly is, the way to move through to peace, is to accept that it happened, that it should have happened because it did happen. that it was meant to happen. And if it didn't happen with that person or that event in that way, it was bound to happen in some other way. That lesson was bound to being brought to you in some other fashion, because this is what maybe you are here to learn. This is the lesson. This is the way that your soul can overcome what it needs to overcome here in this lifetime. And maybe that's a bit esoteric sounding, but it's more like you were meant to learn this lesson and grow through this lesson and cross to the other side of this lesson. And the lesson's sometimes hard. It's sometimes so hard that we can't fathom, right? Because we believe what happened was wrong. And we can still always believe that that person or that thing that happened was wrong. But to say it never should have happened, we're missing the point. We need to accept it should have happened, because I was going to learn this lesson one way or another. And so now I need to accept that it did happen, that it can't be changed, that I can't go back in my mind and replay that memory or replay that or wish for a different outcome, because it will never come. And so as soon as I can start accepting that the past is past, it can't be changed, and looking now to accepting that it happened and trying to figure out what I can learn from it, and being grateful for the lesson. When you can be grateful for the lesson and say, okay, it happened, and now I can stop regretting that it happened and wishing I could change it. Then you can accept that you hated that it happened, but it did happen, and you'll never be able to change it. And now you need to learn from that lesson to grow as a person, to move beyond it in some way, to change your life in some necessary way, to grow, to learn the lessons, to learn the values, to gain the qualities that you need to gain in order to move beyond that. That's true forgiveness, right? We don't need to let another person off the hook. I don't think that's necessary to say, I forgive what you did, like, I absolve you of that, I have no hard feelings about that, it's more like, I can let you go now. It's more an acceptance, like, you did this to me, I'll always believe it was wrong. I think that was wrong, but I accept that it happened, and I accept that you are the one who has given me the gift of learning the lesson I need to learn, and just accept that this is your lesson that has been brought to you in this way. And once you can accept and open your heart to not letting go of whether you believe it was right or wrong, but letting go of the resistance that it happened and that it can ever be changed or undone, or that somehow it's caused irreparable damage to your life in some way. The forgiveness comes, the healing comes when we accept and we let go of the part that has us dig our feet into the ground and hold our jaw tight and say, because of this, I can no longer move forward. I can't let it go. I can't let go the idea that it never should have happened and that I want to change it. So forgiveness is more about relaxing that stance, taking our heels out of the dirt, loosening our jaw, and saying, it happened and it was wrong, but I accept that I cannot change this. This is the reality, and I'm going to look for the positives in it, the gifts in it, the lessons I can learn and move forward with to make me and hopefully somebody else in this world better people, to give back in some way. It's a lesson that evolves you as a human being. So that's what true forgiveness is. That's what letting go means. It doesn't mean letting go of, maybe you'll always think what happened was wrong, and that's okay. But letting go of the guilt that you have to somehow think it's right in order to move past it isn't what true forgiveness is. It's letting go of the idea that you're stuck now forever. It's letting go of the idea that you can't learn or grow from where you are. It's, right, you want to accept reality, accept that it happened, accept that it's supposed to have happened in some way, form, or fashion, and be grateful and thankful for the lesson that you are learning or will learn one day or have already learned, right? So when you get to the other side of it, you will be grateful for the lesson. When you're in the midst of it, it's very hard to accept, because we always wish we could go back. And we always wish that we didn't have to accept what happened. So that's the key. And so it's not changing your value system. It's not changing your worldview. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to change those deepest parts of yourself that know right from wrong and have integrity and believe a certain thing about the world. That is okay. That makes you you. And that's great to know. Hey, I still believe this is wrong. I will never do that to another human being. And I hope that's never done to somebody else, right? That kind of thing builds character. But it's when we can accept. Woo, little chipmunks. I just about ran into, I just about stepped on a chipmunk. So cute. Anyways, I don't know what I was saying, but I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you have learned that forgiveness doesn't mean absolving the situation or the other person. I don't believe. I believe it means taking a good look and actually realizing even more that that kind of thing is wrong and that there's really no absolution, right? That person may have done that for various reasons. They're on their life path, whatever. But it's not that we have to suddenly just change our inner being that says this was wrong. We don't have to do that. We can strengthen that and say that was fucking wrong. That was bad. Like, that is horrible shit. And I will never, right? I will never forgive that act, or I will never be at peace with the fact that I think that's right or something. That you can always deeply believe that is wrong and be okay with that and pat yourself on the back. It was wrong, but now accept that it happened. Accept that you can never change it and that there's a lesson in there that you can learn from and grow from. And that's what true forgiveness is the act of we let go because we don't look back anymore. We don't absolve the act, we absolve the whole memory. We say, I don't need to look back on that anymore. I don't need to replay it in my head anymore. I can let it go because I accept that it happened. And I accept I can't change it. And I accept that I need to start from here and build who I want to become out of that situation. I accept that it's over. I accept that it's behind me. I accept that my life is now changed because of that. Right? As soon as we can stop wishing and hoping that our life can change, our life can go back to how it was pre, something terrible happening. That's what forgiveness is. That's what true letting go is. It's like, I don't need to look back, and I don't really even need to hold you accountable anymore. I don't need to point the fingers. I don't need to have somebody to blame. I don't need to place blame or resentment or keep looking at this situation anymore. That's where the unforgiveness part is. You just say, I know it was wrong. It was wrong. Maybe even that hate drives you to be a better person. But we can, once we can let go of looking back, because we can truly accept and be at peace with the fact that it happened for a reason, and there will come a positive lesson, a positive growth opportunity out of that, then we can let the situation off the hook. We don't need to look back anymore to that person. We thank them for teaching us the lesson, and we move forward with our lives from where we're at. So it's about the movement forward from where you're at, and the stopping of this holding on to the idea if only you could change it or go back. It's the acceptance of truth, of reality, It's the acceptance. That is what forgiveness is. It's accepting, and then being able to move forward, create something new. So I hope this video has been helpful. I hope it's a new perspective on forgiveness that you may not have heard, and it's okay. You know, some things are just wrong, and that's okay. It's okay that you think that. It's okay. You don't have to change, but you have to let go, right? You have to be willing to say, okay, it happened, and I don't need to look back anymore because I can never change it. And I'm okay with that. Once you're okay with that you can't change it or you can't go back and replay it so that something different happened. Once you accept and forgive yourself that it happened and that you won't get the chance to go back and undo it. That's where the true healing comes from. The forgiveness of yourself in that situation, the acceptance of yourself. It's okay. You're good enough the way you are. Forgive yourself. It happened. Accept that it happened and move forward with your life. I hope this has been helpful.